Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and Commander, this is the situation report for the day of 831 for the 3rd of June. We're going to start off with some frontline changes. There is 4 frontline change, all red. We have something at Oskil, Umansky, Novoporovsky region, Kharkiv, these are all at the AVDIIVKA front, and Siversk-Bakhmut at the Donetsk Front. We're going to move into the frontline change at Oskil. So at Oskil, the Russian forces have basically entered Oskil and started the Battle of Oskil. So this has been reported by Ryba. And Ryba mentioned that the Russian forces actually went all the way to the center of Oskil, and but they just went in, some kind of like a reconnaissance by combat, and then they went out. But basically, the Russians have get closer to Oskil and have started the battle at Oskil. And further south from this location, the Russian forces continue to expand their buffer zone around Semenivka and Umansky as the Russian forces continue to push and basically create this buffer zone moving towards in the direction of Novoselivka, Persia. And so the frontline change over at the Semenivka and Umansky region, so over this area here. And the next frontline change is over at Kharkiv, further south from this location. Basically, this is just a slight change. Deep State UA has acknowledged these changes that I have already drawn in yesterday's report. Based on the geolocation, the Deep State UA basically claimed that the entire peninsula has been taken by the Russian forces. So this entire area is now under Russian control. The last frontline change is over at Siversk-Bakhmut over at the Donetsk Front. In this area here, Russian forces is geolocated basically on the western part of Siversk-Bakhmut. It might at first glance look like the Russian forces have taken Siversk-Bakhmut, but this is not true. Based on the video footage, the Russians sent an infantry fighting vehicle flying speed all the way towards this area. But in this area, however, is a serious problem because there is a river here actually, and the bridge here was actually destroyed. And basically, the Russian armored vehicle basically fly in and stranded itself. I think everybody fainted in the vehicle, and Ukrainians started to use FPV drones to take it out. And so that is the situation over at this region of Siversk-Bakhmut. There is no clear indication based on their video footage that the Russians have taken the entire village, but the fact that the Ukrainians are operating FPV drones within the village, tracking using surveillance drones to track the Russians' attack, might suggest that the Ukrainians have already fully withdrawn from Siversk-Bakhmut and taken the defensive positions on the other side of the river. So, which means that the Russian forces, this is currently the gray zone, and the Russian forces is probably going to take over the village very, very soon. So these are the frontline changes report, and we move into the strategic and tactical reporting. First thing first is to press the like button, Commander. Remember to sign in. You come and listen to the report, you must sign in. So, and for those that are not yet joined the DPA army, subscribe, press the like button, and let's move into the Kharkiv front. At the Kharkiv front, the fighting continues over the same sectors, the Lipsy sector as well as the Volchan sector. So over the Lipsy sector, Russian forces clash with Ukrainian forces in the northern part of Lipsy. So the situation remains the same. There is no change in terms of the strategic situation over this front line. And there is no fighting being reported at the Zaporizhzhia region. Over the Volchan sector, the fighting continues in this region with the Ukrainians on the counteroffensive. Ukrainian forces are attacking on the eastern part of Volchansk as well as the northern part of Volchansk. Russians are trying to push southward towards the center again, and the Ukrainians are allegedly attacking Kharkiv, or Gadishev. So this is the current situation right here. Not sure how the Ukrainians are doing the attack. Maybe they have put up some pontoon crossing. According to the Russian information, the Ukrainians have deployed some pontoon crossing across the rivers around here. As you can see, there's a long river around here, and it looks like the Ukrainians may have deployed some crossing in the various regions here to allow them to continue the attack across the river and continue their offensive operation. However, based on geolocations, the situation is quite bad for the Ukrainians over on the southern part of the Volchya River. There is geolocation of Russian airstrike in multiple locations. In all these 5 locations, these are all geolocated Russian airstrikes, fat bombs. So Ukrainians continue to operate. They continue to do their counteroffensive. They're very energetic. So we're going to see how long they can continue this level of intensity in terms of their counteroffensive. The Russian forces basically went into their sit back mode. They are basically sitting back and absorb all the attack, just like Bakhmut Front, as I mentioned in yesterday's situation report. So we move further away in the area northeast of Kharkiv city, over near the location of Mikhailivka. There is a Lancet hit, some kind of a Ukrainian air defense system. So that's about it from the Kharkiv front. We move into the Kupyansk front. At the Kupyansk front, Russian forces are attacking Sinkivka, and there's some attack reported at Berestove, and that's about it in this region. Further south, over the Svatove region, there is only fighting being reported at Siversk-Bakhmut. This Svatove. Over at the Kreminna front, Russian forces allegedly attacking in the region of Nevsky as well as Terny, and that's about it from the Kreminna front. Moving into the Siversk front, at the Siversk front, Russian forces restarted their Siversk offensive, or at least because the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, their report returned at 7 p.m. yesterday, local time. Russian forces attacked Bilohorivka, Volkan-Okayamsky, Ivano-Darivka, Vimka, as well as Rozalivka. So this is a continuation of a previously understood Russian offensive in the Siversk sector. We will continue to monitor. Geolocation of a Lancet hitting a Ukrainian artillery just off Svatove. So this artillery system is pretty rear, pretty far away from the front line. We are talking about a distance of over 13-14 kilometers. So which is basically where you should expect some kind of artillery is, and the Lancets are hunting them. Over at the Bakhmut front, Russian forces are continuing their offensive over in the Kreminna region as well as Ivaniske, and there is also a report of fighting reported at Klishevka. So let me adjust my mapping again so that we can draw the arrows. So Kreminna, Ivaniske, and Klishevka. So that's it. Ukrainians are geolocated to be hit by thermobaric missiles over in the Novi region. So the Russian forces, as I mentioned before, should have no reasons to take Chasivya. So Chasivya is yet another those sponge, just to suck in all the Ukrainian blue Ukrainian mapping. So we move on over to the Niu-York front. There's nothing over the Niu-York front. Over at the Avdiivka front, in the northern flank of the Avdiivka front, Russian forces went on the counter, or rather back on the offensive, depending on how you want to look at it. Because Russian forces has been resting at Avdiivka. Now they have seems to be reactivating their northern attack. Fighting is now reported at Arkhangelsk, north of Ocheretine, towards Novo-Alexandrivka, entering Sokil and Novoporovsky. Ukrainians counter-attack at Novo-Alexandrivka, and you can see that the Ukrainian counter-offensive basically has disappeared with the Russians suddenly going into the offensive, particularly over at Sokil, with the Russian forces entering Sokil itself. Over in the southern flank, the Russian forces continue their advance, creating the buffer zone around Semenivka, as well as north of Umansky, generally in the direction of Novoselivka, Persia. Russian forces are also reportedly attacking the Netolove region and towards Khalivka, with the Russians basically securing Netolove for sure, with this peninsula fully captured based on the mapping by Deep State UA, the pro-Ukrainian source. Further south from this location, the Russian forces also reportedly attacking in the area of Nevelsky, but we have not much information about where this fighting is. We move into the Donetsk Front over the Battle of Krasnohorivka. This battle continues. Based on our last report, we know that the Russians attacking in 3 different directions. In the center, towards the around in the western part, and then from the east. So that's all from Krasnohorivka. And moving into the southern part, around the Konstantinivka region, Russian forces attacking Paraskov-Vievka and towards Vodian, which is over here. And particularly for Paraskov-Vievka, Russian forces are geolocated over here, as mentioned in the Frontline Changes report. Basically, they have entered Paraskov-Vievka, and it looks like the capture of Paraskov-Vievka won't be very far away. Because there might be there's some possible indications based on the geolocation that there is no more Ukrainian forces over at Paraskov-Vievka, and that they have already withdrawn to the next line of defense. There's a high possibility. So we will continue to monitor. Definitely, if anyone say Paraskov-Vievka is captured, I think they are jumping the gun, because based on the video footage, it's just impossible to tell based whether the Russians have captured Paraskov-Vievka. But they are there. There is Russian presence. We move into the Velika Novosilka sector. Russian forces continue their battle of Staromayorsky and Uruzhaine. There are no changes in terms of the front line here. The Ukrainians continue to defend very well. And we move away from Velika Novosilka. The Zaporizhzhia front, this is Zaporizhzhia city, this is Zaporizhzhia front. At the Orikhiv sector, there is fighting reported at Mala Tomashka. The fighting reported previously at Robotine is not mentioned anymore. So it looks like there is nothing. The previous attack towards Novoandrivka and Novodanilivka is not being fought at all as well. So it looks like we have confirmed that this is just a one-off thing. It's just a probing. So whatever Ukrainian god is, and that's it from Zaporizhzhia. We move into the southern front. At the southern front, at the Kherson front, Russian forces are reportedly attacking Krinky again, because the Ukrainian reports are back. So no, we have Krinky again. There is a geolocation of Russians striking Orhivka with a guided bomb, and that's about it from the Kherson front. And that's it. So this is the summary or the situation report for the day of 831 for the 3rd of June. Commander, press the like button. If you don't press, the missile cannot fly. So press the like button, fire that missile, and let's destroy the YouTube algorithm army. And I'll see you guys in the next update.